After the defeat in Sarajevo and the death of the Prophet came, the Brotherhood of Nod, left without a leader to guide them, fell into a series of civil wars over leadership that lasted for 30 years, known as the Reunification Wars. Contrary to what many might think, the GDI never delivered the killing blow, mainly because part of their focus was on eliminating Tiberium and experimenting with new weapons, something that turned out to be a major mistake. The different Nod sub-factions kept fighting the GDI and slowly gained control over more parts of the planet. GDI didn't really notice this happening, since they had already written off those regions as lost due to Tiberium infestation. Despite all the internal conflict, surprisingly, the Brotherhood of Nod made technological progress across all branches of its military. Even though these advancements were relatively new and didn't reach their full potential during this war, they were enough to put up a serious fight against the GDI and make a difference at the start of the Second Tiberium War, except for the Navy, but I'll get to that someday. During those 30 years, Nod also made major progress in its Tiberium research, especially in the military field, developing Tiberium-based weapons, missiles, and more. Even if it's not obvious in the game, they also made advancements in genetic and biological engineering, aiming to evolve the human species so it could adapt to the green crystal and use it to its advantage. They used the forgotten people mutated by Tiberium for research and experiments, which eventually led to the creation of cyborgs. While some human volunteers took part, the early results weren't promising. Yes, the cyborgs were strong, but they lacked intelligence in the first stages of the experiments. In this video, we're going to look at Nod 3 military branches, and yes, someday I'll cover the Navy too. The infantry of the Brotherhood of Nod, unlike their GDI counterparts who prioritized quality over quantity, was characterized by being more numerous, with basic training and gear that covered the essentials, plus protection against Tiberium radiation. Nod doctrine remained the same: fast attacks, ambushes, sabotage, and so on. Light infantry, this was the basic unit in the Brotherhood ranks. Their role included scouting, supporting and covering other units, as well as mass attacks to overwhelm the enemy. Though it's not super obvious in the game, their weaponry was pretty diverse. Besides using the GDI standard rifle, they also wielded M16s, AK-47s, and even weapons from the First Tiberium War, like the GAU-3 Eliminator. They also had their own custom weapons. As I said, it's not really shown much in the game. Rocket Infantry, another Nod unit, which I find curious wasn't also in the GDI ranks, was the infantry equipped with rocket launchers. Since Nod vehicles were light and followed their mobility doctrine, rocket launchers proved very effective against armored units, buildings, and as anti-air emplacements. In large numbers, they could take on GDI walkers. However, the weapons they carried were heavy, making them slow and limiting them to just that gear, which left them vulnerable to light infantry or being crushed. That's why they were usually escorted by Nod light infantry. Engineers, not much changed here. Their role stayed the same: repairing, capturing key buildings, and maintaining them. Toxin soldiers, a special unit present in the Second Tiberium War. These highly trained soldiers were equipped with Tiberium-based and chemical ammunition, capable of taking out enemies with a single shot or using anesthetic projectiles to capture targets. They were rare and only seen in this war. If you're wondering about flamethrower units, well, let's just say they weren't necessary, plus they wanted to avoid more accidents. Mutant hijackers, some of the forgotten who joined Nod ranks as volunteers, wore special stealth suits. These allowed them to evade enemy patrols and, when least expected, steal enemy vehicles to use against them. They could hijack and operate any vehicle, except aircraft and the Mammoth Mk2. Even if a vehicle was destroyed, the mutant hijackers would abandon it before it exploded, sneaking away to grab another nearby vehicle, making them a real pain in the neck. After the Second Tiberium War, they were nowhere to be seen, as the Brotherhood itself didn't want them around. Cyborgs. Curiously, cyborg units were a project started by the Soviets, which the Brotherhood of Nod perfected. During the Cold War, the first cyborg unit, named Volkov, was deployed. It was highly effective but went rogue, attacking everyone regardless of their side. After the Soviet defeat, the blueprints, research, and everything related to the project vanished without a trace. During the First Tiberium War, Cain tasked the Black Hand with investigating Tiberium properties to evolve humanity into a form compatible with the crystal or to harness its power. The early results were promising. And what does this have to do with cyborgs? Cyborgs are humans enhanced with Tiberium and cybernetic parts, a concept introduced in the game Renegade. In the early stages, 3 types of cyborgs emerged. Initiates, they didn't have much intelligence but were strong and fast. Acolytes, an improvement, capable of understanding orders and using weapons. Templars, the pinnacle of this stage, intelligent, skilled, and highly resilient. A common trait among these 3 units was their immunity to Tiberium-based weapons. In fact, they healed and grew stronger when exposed to it. Unfortunately, the base, data, and everything related to the project were destroyed by the GDI. The idea behind deploying cyborgs was to create loyal super soldiers who wouldn't question orders, as Cain concluded that the defeat in the First Tiberium War stemmed from a lack of loyalty and discipline. At the start of the Second Tiberium War, cyborgs were finally deployed. Despite having little information from previous projects, they managed to recreate these units as best they could. The resulting cyborgs were enhanced with controlled Tiberium exposure and the integration of cybernetic parts in mutated areas, making each unit unique. Though they were slow, their durability made up for this weakness, and their weaponry allowed them to take on almost any enemy, even if the game doesn't fully show it. Cyborg Commandos, among the standout units were cyborgs upgraded with high-quality implants, turning them into Cyborg Commandos. Armed with the few Tiberium-based weapons available, they were practically unstoppable, tearing through everything in their path. They could only be stopped by overwhelming firepower, though they lacked anti-air weapons. Reapers, another terrifying unit, was the Reapers, created during Cabal Rebel Lion. These abominations were made by taking civilians or anyone captured by Cabal forces and transforming them into grotesque machines. All that remained of the person was the torso and head, the rest was replaced with cybernetic parts. They had spider-like legs to move across any terrain, a net launcher to immobilize or capture, and 2 missile launchers effective against armored units and aircraft. After the Second Tiberium War and the events of Firestorm, all cyborg units were destroyed and banned by the Brotherhood of Nod, or so they say. Some folks got clever and kept using them. Although the Brotherhood of Nod achieved notable technological advancements, decades of civil wars, ongoing battles with GDI, and the deep distrust among its leaders didn't help much. Only when Cain reappeared before his followers did all military resources finally unify under a single objective: to serve Cain. Buggy and attack bike, these vehicles didn't undergo major changes, mainly because they were already highly effective and there was no real need to modify them. The only exception was the buggy, which now required only one operator thanks to its automated dual turret system. For those who might have forgotten, these units are designed for scouting, fast strikes, and ambushes. Tank. After the First Tiberium War, the Brotherhood realized their tanks couldn't match the GDI heavy armor. As a result, they developed several models, and the standout was the Tank. This compact, agile tank is equipped with a medium-caliber cannon that fires explosive shells and a light machine gun, though it's not shown in the game. Its key feature is its ability to dig into the ground using a special mechanism that buries the tank, leaving only its turret exposed. In this mode, the Tank becomes a stationary turret, lowering its profile, increasing its resistance to attacks, and allowing it to rotate 360 degrees. Devil's Tongue. Due to surface hazards and GDI air superiority, Nod designed a subterranean vehicle to move underground and ambush enemies with onboard weaponry. The result was the Devil's Tongue, a light underground tank equipped with twin flamethrowers that unleash intense streams of fire. It was built to tunnel beneath enemy lines and emerge by surprise, making it perfect for ambush and infiltration tactics. However, its light armor made it vulnerable to anti-tank weapons. It could be detected by sensors, and certain pavement materials around enemy bases prevented it from surfacing, forcing it to reroute or exit elsewhere. Subterranean APC. Another underground unit was the Subterranean APC, which served as a troop transport. It was effective for ambushing patrols or sneaking into enemy territory, but it shared the same downsides as the Devil's Tongue, light armor and trouble with sensors or fortified terrain. Stealth tank, this vehicle, which remained in use after the First Tiberium War, didn't change much. It retained its fast mobility, stealth capabilities, and anti-armor missile system. However, it also kept its flaws: thin armor, high energy usage that prevented it from firing while cloaked. It had to decloak to attack. And now, a new issue: enemy sensors could detect it, making it an easy target. Still, it remained a very useful unit. Mobile artillery, another unit that continued to serve, and likely always will, is the mobile artillery. This light vehicle is equipped with a long-range cannon that fires explosive shells in a high arc. This allows it to hit targets from afar, even over obstacles like hills or walls. Its minimalist design sacrifices armor and speed in favor of sheer firepower. It's effective against infantry, light vehicles, and structures, but less accurate when targeting fast-moving units. Its light armor makes it extremely vulnerable to direct attacks, and its slow speed limits its ability to reposition or escape danger. However, its low cost allows for mass production, which can result in a deadly rain of artillery fire. After the Second Tiberium War, most of these vehicles were either scrapped, upgraded, or replaced. There weren't many major changes overall. Support vehicles. As hard as it might be to believe, the Brotherhood of Nod had its own support vehicles, or rather, many were stolen from the GDI and adapted to serve their cause. Limpet drone. This reconnaissance drone, used by both sides, deploys like a mine and waits for a vehicle to pass by. Once triggered, the drone attaches to the vehicle's underside, interfering with its electrical systems, often causing a loss of speed. It also transmits tactical and terrain data to its controller or a designated radar facility. Reconnaissance drones could be detected by sensor systems, disabled by an electromagnetic pulse (EMP), or destroyed by vehicles and repair stations. After the Second Tiberium War, they fell out of use due to advanced sensors and the ease of identifying affected vehicles. Vehicles borrowed from the GDI Mobile Sensor Array, a vehicle equipped with cutting-edge sensors capable of detecting enemy units, even if they are cloaked or underground. MCV, Mobile Construction Vehicle. By now, most people know what this does, but just in case, the MCV is the core for building and expanding bases for both factions, allowing them to establish and manage operations on the battlefield. It's expensive, slow, and must be protected at all costs. Mobile War Factory, similar to the MCV but designed exclusively for producing vehicles. It's useful for securing positions and reinforcing the front line quickly. Now, let's move on to the Brotherhood of Nod-owned vehicles. Mobile Repair Vehicle. This robotic vehicle can repair damaged vehicles on the battlefield. It's equipped with an extendable arm containing all the tools needed for repairs. Though it was very useful, ironically, it was discontinued after the war, and the GDI created their own version, which proved extremely practical. Mobile Stealth Generator. Stealth generators were great for hiding bases, so Nod designed a mobile version. This vehicle allowed units to stay invisible for stealth attacks against enemy bases. Unfortunately, it couldn't move and deploy its cloaking system at the same time due to power issues, stability problems, and difficulties calculating the light involved. As you'd expect, this limited its effectiveness, and you know what happened to them. Weed Eater. This Nod vehicle is, essentially, a massive lawnmower designed to harvest Tiberium veins and use them for chemical missiles. They were likely dismantled after the Firestorm conflict. Montauk. I couldn't forget this one. The Montauk is an armored underground vehicle equipped with advanced technology to serve as a mobile command center. It uses Nod Global Tunnel System and has limited digging capabilities, allowing it to travel underground and avoid detection or enemy attacks. It's linked to Cabal, computer-assisted biologically augmented life form, Nod Artificial Intelligence, which enables Slavic to coordinate forces, receive real-time intelligence, and communicate directly with Kane. Unlike the GDI Kodiak, Michael Neal's aerial command center, the Montauk is smaller, more compact, and optimized for covert operations, reflecting Nod's need to evade the GDI advanced orbital communication networks. After the Second Tiberium War, the Montauk met the same fate as Slavic and his crew. Unlike their counterpart, GDI, the Brotherhood of Nod didn't focus on developing a wide variety of aircraft. Instead, they prioritized subterranean units and infantry. Because of this, they operated only two main types of aircraft. Harpy, the successor to the R-64 Apache, the Harpy boasts a highly aerodynamic and stealthy design. Equipped with a powerful rotor that makes it fast, it's armed with two rotating machine guns effective against infantry and light vehicles. It serves as a scout, used for patrolling areas or, on occasion, evacuating key personnel. However, its light armor made it vulnerable, easily shot down by anti-air weapons. Later, it was upgraded and renamed the Venom. Banshee. After experimenting with recovered alien technology, the Brotherhood of Nod developed the next generation of precision bombers. Codenamed Banshee, this sleek aircraft was capable of annihilating any unit or structure with its twin plasma cannons. The Banshee was created through reverse engineering of SCRIN technology, combined with knowledge from the Tacitors. It played a critical role in dealing devastating blows to GDI operations, even capable of taking down the Mammoth Mk2. However, as a prototype unit, not enough Banshees were produced to grant Nod a decisive edge in the war. GDI actively sought out and destroyed every known factory and hangar where they were built. By the end of the Second Tiberium War, only a handful of Banshees remained, and during the Firestorm conflict, they virtually disappeared. By the time of the Third Tiberium War, they were nowhere to be seen. One plausible explanation is the high cost of construction, the advanced tech level required, or their reliance on hard-to-obtain components. Another theory suggests that Cabal, before its destruction, took all blueprints and data related to their creation. The Brotherhood of Nod, despite their defeat in the First Tiberium War, the loss of their leader came, and 30 years of civil war, didn't do too badly, let's be honest. If they hadn't focused on betraying each other and wasting resources on internal fights, they'd have at least had better weapons to take on the GDI, and who knows, maybe they would have won. With that, I'm wrapping up everything about the units of the Second Tiberium War and the events of Firestorm. In the next video, I'll talk about Cabal units. I know I could have just said they all turned into cyborgs or included them in this video, but to make things more interesting, I'll check out some mods that feature Cabal as an independent faction. I've got a few options in mind, but only one or two are actually available. See you in the next one. Give it a like, subscribe, comment, and share. Catch you later.